you. So, good afternoon. We're moving on directly to our session on modes of knowledge transfer, including reference to activities in public humanities. My name is Sharon Aronson Lehavi. I'm from Bar-Ilan University and a member of the Israeli Academy. And I'm very happy to introduce Professor Rick Rylance, who is the Chief Executive of the AHRC, the Arts and Humanities Research Council in the United Kingdom. Professor Rylance has served as head of the School of Arts, Languages and Literatures at the University of Exeter, and before that he served as Dean of Arts and Letters at the then Anglia Polytechnic University in Cambridge. His research is in English, and he was chair of the English subpanel of the RAE 2008 and a member of main panel M, Languages and Literature. He was a founder member of the English Subject Center's Advisory Board, a past chair of the Council of College and University English, and is currently a member of the Higher Education Committee of the English Association. He was elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts in 1998 and a founding Fellow of the English Association in 1999. His main research interests are in 19th and 20th century literature and the intellectual and literary history of those periods, and as we heard just now, he has a particular interest in the history of psychology and the psychology of the reading process. So, thank you.
You never quite recognize yourself in those descriptions, do you? It's odd. It's always about somebody else. Okay, I'll talk for 20 minutes. I want to start by taking issue with the title of this, the title I was given, which is Knowledge Transfer, because I don't think that what we're engaged in is transfer of anything very much. It's actually more reasonably described as knowledge exchange, and I've got two reasons for that. The first is because knowledge transfer suggests it is a transfer of knowledge from a bunch of people who know stuff to a bunch of people who don't know stuff. And I think that introduces hierarchies which are unhelpful and are related to my second reason. The second reason is that if I try and imagine what the research environment is going to be like in 10 years' time, worldwide, in different levels, in different countries, I think some of the following will be true. That the distinction we've, in an increasingly threadbare way, cherished for a bit between pure and applied research will be nearly meaningless. That research will be conducted through a variety of institutions and organizations and not just singletons. And I don't by this mean just universities X and Y. I mean the whole array of the knowledge economy, which is running through public and private sectors, for-profit and not-for-profit. I think funding packages will be put together from a diversity of sources, including internationally and not just national sources. And as we've just heard finally, I think interdisciplinarity will become more and more important for the way that we operate. So the driving logic of all those things is that we're going to increasingly operate in a world of collaboration, of consortia building, and of exchange of knowledge between different parties with different interests, different perspectives, and I think that's a good thing. In fact, I think it is a very good thing indeed. And what follows from that, I think, is what I'm going to try and describe what we've been doing in the HRC for the last few years. What are the opportunities for knowledge exchange within the humanities? Well, there are lots of these, and really they're only limited by our imaginations, but I'll pick on three. First of all, we can make a major contribution to public policy in different ways, and governments, in my experience, which admittedly is limited, but in my experience they're desperate for that contribution. In the HRC, we've been trying to develop work on risk. What is the appetite for risk within the public in relation to big events? We've been trying to develop work on what are called autonomous systems, or more popularly robots. What is the public tolerance for a surgical operation to be conducted by a robot rather than a human surgeon prone to mistakes? And there are all kinds of other areas, radical beliefs, medical treatments, and so on, in which the humanities can make a very conspicuous and very considerable contribution. In the UK's recent response to the Ebola emergency in Africa, one of the foundational pieces of work which directed treatment was actually funded by the AHRC and was on burial practices in the wake of the AIDS epidemic. So it was the arts and humanities which actually did a great deal of the foundational work which established strong treatments in those places. The second area I'll pick on is don't ever underestimate, again in my experience, the public interest in what we do. We sometimes pretend it is recherche, we sometimes pretend it is only of specialist interest, but in fact, the population of the UK, and I'm sure it's true of all your countries as well, wants to know about their own history. They want to know about their own culture. They want to know about their own ideas and beliefs and ceremonies and rituals and strengths in arts and culture. Those are the things actually that people want to be informed on. So I think funding agencies, and this is something we've done, it's important we try to make connections with broadcasters, with the media, and with all kinds of other organisations, including museums, theatres, galleries, and so on, which are responsible for the dissemination of that kind of knowledge. One programme we started, for example, with the BBC is called New Generation Thinkers, where we run an annual competition whereby senior